once, and seizing him, beat him and put him into chains. Next day he was led before the emperor, who at once condemned him to death, and to be thrown into a dark dungeon till the day of his execution arrived. The wolf, who of course knew by his magic arts all that had happened to the prince, turned himself at once into a mighty monarch with a large train of followers, and proceeded to the court of the emperor, where he was received with every show of honour. The emperor and he conversed on many subjects, and among other things the stranger asked his host if he had many slaves. The emperor told him he had more than he knew what to do with, and that a new one had been captured that very night for trying to steal his magic bird. But as he had already more than enough to feed and support, he was going to have this last captive hanged next morning. "He must have been a most daring thief," said the king, "to try and steal a magic bird, for depend upon it, the creature must have been well guarded. I would really like to see this bold rascal." "By all means," said the emperor, and he himself led his guest down to the dungeon where the unfortunate prince was kept prisoner. When the emperor stepped out of the cell with the king, the latter turned to him and said, "Most mighty emperor, I have been much disappointed. I thought to find a powerful robber, and instead of that I have seen the most miserable creature I can imagine. Hanging is far too good for him. If I had to sentence him, I should make him perform some very difficult task under pain of death. If he did it, so much the better for you, and if he didn't, matters will be just as they are now, and he could still be hanged." "Your counsel," said the emperor, "is excellent, and as it happens I've got the very thing for him to do. My nearest neighbour, who is also a mighty emperor, possesses a golden horse which he guards most carefully. The prisoner shall be told to steal this horse and bring it to me." The prince was then let out of his dungeon, and told his life would be spared if he succeeded in bringing the golden horse to the emperor. He did not feel very elated at this announcement, for he did not know how in the world he was to set about the task, and he started on his way weeping bitterly, and wondering what had made him leave his father's house and kingdom. But before he had gone far, his friend the wolf stood before him and said, "Dear prince, why are you so cast down? It is true you didn't succeed in catching the bird, but don't let that discourage you, for this time you will be all the more careful, and will doubtless catch the horse." With these and like words, the wolf comforted the prince, and warned him specially not to touch the wall, or let the horse touch it as he led it out, or he would fail in the same way as he had done with the bird. After a somewhat lengthy journey, the prince and the wolf came to the kingdom ruled over by the emperor who possessed the golden horse. One evening late, they reached the capital, and the wolf advised the prince to set to work at once, before their presence in the city had aroused the watchfulness of the guards. They slipped unnoticed into the emperor's stables, and into the very place where there were the most guards, for there the wolf rightly surmised they would find the horse. When they came to a certain inner door, the wolf told the prince to remain outside while he went in. In a short time he returned and said, "My dear prince, the horse is most securely watched, but I have bewitched all the guards, and if you will only be careful not to touch the wall yourself, or let the horse touch it as you go out, there is no danger and the game is yours." The prince, who had made up his mind to be more than cautious this time, went cheerfully to work. He found all the guards fast asleep, and slipping into the horse's stall, he seized it by the bridle and let it out. But unfortunately, before they had got quite clear of the stables, a gadfly stung the horse and caused it to switch its tail, whereby it touched the wall. In a moment all the guards awoke, seized the prince, and beat him mercilessly with their horsewhips, after which they bound him with chains and flung him into a dungeon. Next morning they brought him before the emperor, who treated him